What's up? It's Mike B. I'm just chilling like a motherfucking villain. Let me tell you something. I quit social media again, and I'm telling you guys, I think it's very important for you to quit social media. My experiences with it were very confusing, as much addictions are and bad habits are. They really are addicting. Um, it is literally an addiction, because what happens is, and the cycle that I found myself in is, okay, I'm feeling bored, right? So what do I need, right? Now, why have we gone to social media so often? Well, it's addicting. Well, why? It's not because it looks great. It's not because it's addicting in and of itself. You have to understand, like alcohol and like any other drug, the drug itself isn't addicting. The person who uses it is susceptible to addiction when using some products or substances. But the substance itself is just there. Um, right? And you may think this is all bullshit because you're like, well, how is it just there? I mean, Facebook was created, Instagram was created. Well, no, it wasn't. It's an imitation of social interaction. And unlike anything we've ever seen, everybody kind of got on board and said, well, this is a world in and of itself. So we recognized what we now call the social media world. And this world has taken lives. If you don't think the internet's like serious, I mean, the internet has caused suicide, the internet has caused wars, the internet has caused a lot of fucking problems and exposed a lot of problems at the same time. But overall, it's a better thing to have, right? So I'm not going against the internet. I'm going against social media, because social media is a literal simulation of what all humans seek, and that is not to be alone. Right? It's not to be alone. So when you're all alone and you're in your head or you're at work, it gives you this opportunity to kind of open the door to this other realm where you get to like speak freely and never hold your peace. And when you want an opinion out, you get it out now, and people have no choice but to see it. Like it's put in front of their face, where it's in real life. You have to go up to a person, right? Or call them and say, hey, buddy, you suck, right? But social media, and that's where it starts to get hairy, and that's where it starts to get gray, is what happens without those interactions. What happens without the need to bridge a physical plane in order to contact other human beings? What is that taking away from us? And I don't think it's taking away the humanness. We will always interact with each other human by human. But we're getting to this close, dangerous place where the idea, and what's dangerous isn't the idea itself. What's dangerous is society's acceptance that this is so important now, okay, that this depicts real life. And that's where the problem really stems from, because it's like people not only want, but they automatically start treating social media like it's the real world, or like everybody in the world must know about what's going on because everybody's expected to have social media now. So now we have this strange social thing that's happened where it's like, hey, you must have a social account, so you must have knowledge of the current political tensions rising, for example. But some people might go, no, I haven't watched the news in years, or months. I don't know what you're fucking talking about. But it's to those people we have to explain that there is something missing about social media. And I think that's social interaction. I think social media with social interaction would actually help. If it was, if it only worked when two people were together, you know what I mean? Facebook would only open when you're with a group. that would be a little different because you're kind of sharing stuff on the internet, but you're still talking to each other in the room. You're still present. I think there is something different. There's something else to this. And when we are present, we're using the internet in completely different ways. We are sharing videos with each other that we want instead of like, here's my phone, look, you're going, let me send it to you. And I just think that alone is also different. But I think the current way social media is used in the current position that I found myself in is when I'm bored, I would go there for the same high I got from simply just talking to someone or calling someone on the phone, or because what often happens is we're left to our own thoughts and we're bored and we come up with some kind of thought or idea what we're going to do next. Sometimes it's like fiddling with our hands, and other times it's going on our phone and checking our social media. And I just think that there is this strange addiction that social media forms in the mind of many adults, where just like social interaction, you feel like you need to keep it up, which is wrong. It's not true, but they've made it that way using the algorithms. They've simulated social events. But this is all fake, guys. The algorithm is a made-up fake thing to essentially make your conversation and your idea seem relevant. So it's not real. It's all a honeysuckle, honeypot maneuver, because they get you in. They give you this fake feeling of social identity and class and position and friend count and like count and post count, and your content's trending and this is going viral. And then now we've mixed the money part into it, where social media companies are literally paying creators not to create good content. They're creating content that gets clicks. So these creators could be sharing the most drab, worthless fucking piece of shit about Roblox or fucking Minecraft, but they will pay these people for their work, and they'll pay the same guy who's an artist who's filming all his original content on the other side of the channel. So you guys are working for slave. You guys are slaves, okay? Seriously. Either get a full-time job for YouTube, but don't take dollars and cents and then go, well, making money. Are you kidding? All I have to do is post. Yeah, you're working for free, dude. You are a part of this artificial social traffic that these companies purposely allow for. They purposely allow for the bots. They purposely allow for AI. They purposely allow for the scammers. Elon said it himself, you need a certain number of scammers, or the scam artists themselves will do crazier scams. Like shut down the whole internet instead of use it to just launder money. You know what I'm saying? That's one theory about all this. That's one big theory. And I see, as soon as I put social media down, I see the triggers, and the triggers are strong and they're emotional, and you're like, oh, I want to share this thought. And then there's this weird, I'm going to miss out worry, where it's like, well, if I don't go out and drink tonight, if I don't post this on social media tonight, no, I'm not going to be relevant in my social class, right? So instead of going out with your friends and going out, right, which everyone does, this is an extreme example, but what I'm saying is instead of that experience being one where people are networking now, so there are groups of people just going out, and they're not networking, they're not dating, they're not asking people out. It's not singles bars anymore. There's no such thing as single bars anymore. And so they all go out, and everybody kind of expects everybody to know the 411. And back in the day, you used to go weeks and months and years sometimes, and then you'd meet a family member and you'd have endless topics to discuss. Endless. This person could be the total polar opposite of you, grew up in a different part, richer, poorer, whatever. and you will have endless things to talk about. But with social media, it eliminating the in-person factor makes it so everybody kind of knows what everyone's doing all the time. So then when we get together, what are we doing? We're just surviving. We're not communicating anymore. We're not sharing our lives. We're not really getting together anymore like getting together used to be this thing where you would talk about the year and how your business did, but now that with social media, these conversations are just uninteresting. A lot of it's just like, yeah, oh, you've been doing that? Yeah, I've been doing that. Yeah, good. And that's it. Because you've seen the pictures, because you've seen the photos, because the videos and the reels and the TikToks, what's there to talk about? Nothing. So you're satisfying this urge to share, but you're sharing it in the worst possible way. Because you're sharing it with an entity who promises to make you relevant by shoving your thoughts in your friends' faces. And it's just not the way we function. It's not the way we work. We're not supposed to be sharing these ideas unless they're political or mission-driven. We shouldn't be sharing. I took a shit today. Who fucking cares, dude? Unless it was big. But other than that, who cares? But I care if you were to save that maybe for a time together. Instead of posting it to Facebook, you go, yeah, guess what? 2 days ago, put the huge shit. You know what I mean? It barely went down the hole. Right? You got a picture of it? Yeah, I didn't share it to Facebook. I got it right here. Oh, yeah. Now no one's seeing the shit, and you can share it with your friend nice and privately. What happened to those days? What happened is social media said, I will do something for you that you can't do for yourself, which is interact and socialize, okay, with people without being anywhere near them. And instead of saying, geez, this is going to steal away our humanity, everybody said, geez, this is going to steal away our humanity, but let's only stop if it gets really bad. And now it's gotten really bad, and no one can stop. So what does that sound like, guys? It's an addiction, guys. If it wasn't an addiction, social media would be as common as owning a watch or, listening to metal music. Some people do it, some people don't. Who cares? Some people go on this fun little fucking bullshit thing, and that's it. But it's not a choice, guys. They social experimented us into fucking oblivion. They literally convinced us to share every single idea, every single movement, every single thing through the course of the years. If you have social media, that's your only fucking reason for it. So don't say you don't do it. All right, you may have not posted something in years, but people know where you live, they know where you work, and they know what you look like. All right, so you put that all out there, and you just take away from the surprise. There's nothing left in society. Everybody knows each other. Everybody's constantly communicating. So why even get together? That's why COVID was so successful. If we didn't have the internet, COVID would have been a lot worse. Imagine if we didn't have webcams. Okay, imagine if we didn't have telephones. So grow the fuck up, and understand that this technology that we're heavily relying on is taking our lives. Okay, it really is. And it's doing it in habitual ways. It's doing it in ways where you're using the thing and it's not right. You could be doing something else with your time. No one gives a fuck about your opinions, except some people. All this, yet you post and you seek this higher need of socialism. And you post it, you're like, I hope it gets a lot of likes. And then when it doesn't, you go, no one likes me. Or I gotta try harder, I gotta do something crazier, And it's just this weird thing where it doesn't matter. No one's even there. They're just reading your Facebook from miles away. Who gives a shit? You know, but it's not about who gives a shit. Because there are some people who do give a shit. Like there are some sobriety pages and motivation pages that I think should stay on Facebook, but there's also this influencer thing. And what is an influencer is someone whose YouTube is paying slave wages, okay, to use products that those companies are paying them nothing to use. So, you know, who is getting fucked here? You know, get a job at YouTube advertising if you're going to advertise products. Don't collect dollars and cents off of ads that you're putting together for free. I mean, it's just I think it's like the chance of being famous here is ruining a lot of things because people don't fucking understand what being famous is. It's a disaster. And they don't also understand that once you are famous, right, you are out there, right? And this whole social media thing goes away, really. You know, but I guess what I want to talk about is really just getting everybody off of social media, guys. It is the most addicting, worst thing because it is stealing your literal life away. Your energy to interact. Like, what is that? What does that do to us? Just sending notes in a bottle all fucking day. It's like, you know, what are we doing? What are we accomplishing by continuing liking frivolous pages and continuing to follow more shit and just continuing to spread out, right, and build this whole entire social identity online? And it takes time to do that. It takes effort. It takes heart. And there was all one time we were proud of our Facebooks. Now, I could give a fucking shit, right? But there was one time where losing my Facebook account was like the end of the world. You know, that's why, you know, we're going to ban your account. Hasn't worked. You know, it hasn't worked. No one cares anymore about account banning. You just make a new email, make a new account. No one gives a fuck because they're not doing online IDs. And you call that authoritarianism. I call it safety, general safety, right? Because we have, mistakenly, as a society, considered social media as this whole other world. Right? Which is a very big fallacy. Because we're seeing how some folks don't understand where the lines blur. You know, and I think that's a lot of problems with the Democrats right now who go out and do yoga, you know, at the ICE facilities and in 70s fucking Pilates. Like, these people are the ones who are getting their information all from social media. And they're going out on the street and expecting, like, let's just be stupid, right? And retarded, and we'll get attention. Like, that's the only thing they plan for No Kings. Let's just be dumb. Let's walk out, say we don't want a king, and say we hate fucking Donald Trump. And, but what is being accomplished? Nothing. But what is showing is that you have a clear motivation from social media that must have told these people, like, this is a righteous thing to do, and things are gonna change. That's the biggest fucking lie the liberals have ever been told, is that under the cloak of virtue and good doing, things are just gonna magically change well for the future. Guys, a good man can only give away so much of his own belongings. A charitable man has a fucking limit too. Okay? So these conversations of, you know, we can afford this disaster that we almost had. You know, we can just continue to pay into the system, continue to keep it going. And what really needs to happen is people need to get off Facebook. People need to get off social media and go out to places and socialize again and meet people and meet friends and have conversations in person, and share what your life's about with people. I think just giving it away is an action that we instinctively have. So they've played on our instincts, guys. Our instincts to interact. They have exploited it for our advertising information. They said, this is a place where you can go and talk to each other. And by the way, while you're talking, we're just going to pump you with fucking ads. We are going to ask you to subscribe, submit, to like, to buy. And it's just nauseating. I mean, how many of these fake fucking YouTube commercials are going to be out there until YouTube wakes up and goes, our advertising costs are a bubble? Because you have fucking Chevy in one commercial and Ching Pong Pow over in China trying to sell me a broken fucking military earplug. How does that happen? How? Okay, how does the YouTube allow for that discrepancy, that disparity in fucking quality? And they do it because they're willing to take any dollar. They don't care about the creativity anymore. They fucking don't care what you post. As long as it makes their company look like there's more traffic. Because the more traffic there is, the higher they can sell their company for when the time comes. So the more and more they pay you, all they're doing is paying you dividends. Okay, they're paying you money that they could just throw away and paying you to just keep running on that fucking hamster wheel. I mean, I don't know when people are going to wake up. I really don't. Because they got all you guys now. I mean, they got everybody doing it. They got everybody collecting a check, dollars and cents. For what? To post? Oh my God, dude. This is brutal.